All right, John, you wanted me to make a video of some of my most influential albums that have inspired me over the years in my music playing and writing. This would be, in the top 10, top 15. Judas Priest, Scream for Vengeance, phenomenal album. Twin Guitar Attack, Rob Halford on vocals. I mean, doesn't get much more metal than Judas Priest. And moving along to Iron Maiden, I mean, what's more metal than Iron Maiden? Killer's album, which, second album. It's like a finely tuned machine with Diano singing and just, amazing. Twin Guitar Attack again with very unique vocals. And look at the album cover. Who wouldn't like this as a kid? Next, we move on to Ozzy Osbourne, Diary of a Madman, which, I think is Randy Rhoads' best work with Ozzy. This album is, just flowing straight through. Great album, amazing guitar playing, one of my favorite guitar players. And once again, a unique vocalist that just, nobody sounds like Ozzy. Nobody. Next would probably be Def Leppard, High and Dry, great album, Twin Guitar Attack, very unique voice. This by far my favorite Def Leppard album. It's just very raw and just like pure rock and roll, heavy metal kind of feel. You don't really get much better than that rock and roll feel until, maybe later on with Guns N' Roses or something, Appetite for Destruction. But this is, back in the day in the 80s where, just pure rock and roll metal. Would probably be, one of the albums that got me into some real heavier stuff. Metallica's Kill 'Em All, their debut album, and just amazing real raw heavy metal sound to it. Twin guitars, the rhythm guitar is amazing on this, and the vocals is so raw and forceful, and if you've ever listened to this album, you've never forgotten it. It's fantastic. This album comes a little later on, and my influences, Dave Mustaine left Metallica to create Megadeth, so you got to throw some Megadeth in there as influence, and this is by far their best album, I think. It's just all the way straight through, song after song is like the best work I think they've ever done. And, it just really inspires you to write your best work. I don't know how long it took them to write this thing, but it's just a masterpiece. And now we're getting into a little more obscure. I don't know if Testament's obscure to some of you people, but to some of them it is. This is The New Order, probably my favorite Testament album ever made, and once again, twin guitars, lead guitarist Skolnick is just phenomenal guitar player. And everything on this album is amazing. The vocals, unique vocals. They're pretty heavy vocals. It's a heavy album, but it's very worth taking a listen to. And now we're moving into a little more obscure, maybe, Flotsam and Jetsam to some of you people. No Place for Disgrace is the album, and this is just, little heavier, little strange kind of feeling to this album, but the vocals very unique again, and just, giving this album a listen, you won't be disappointed. It, might be a little off the cuff, but it's definitely a great album to hear. And probably my most obscure album that I'm going to list in this 10 to 15 album list would be Icon, their self-titled debut, and it is one of the best albums I've ever listened to, and grew up listening to this. Most people have never heard of this band. I think they're from Phoenix, Arizona, and, just amazing voice, twin guitars, again, with great leads. You will not be disappointed if you come across this and listen to it. And now for Wasp, it's self-titled. You can't have metal without Blackie Lawless. This guy is the theatrical wizard of metal, later days. He ain't no Alice Cooper, but he's up there, with his theatrics. And Wasp definitely will leave a lasting memory on you if you're a kid and growing up and watching their videos on MTV or, listening to the music. It's one that you do not forget the voice. And this one, Queensryche, The Warning, would probably be up there. I used to sneak down into my brother's basement and listen to this record when they weren't home. And, my favorite songs on this, it's just, nonstop all the way through. Amazing vocals, great twin guitar attack, great drummer. All around. Even the bass player is good. It's just, freaking amazing album. And it definitely leaves a lasting impression on you that you won't forget. And if you couldn't tell, I'm showing Queensryche again, so they're my favorite band. And this is probably the best album of my choice out of anything I've ever heard. It's a concept album, you know, storytelling, and it's just like, this is probably my favorite album of all time. Nothing tops this album to me. I mean, the vocals, the twin guitar, the leads, the storyline, everything, the vocals, the writing, it's just, nothing is even close to this in my mind if you want to hear the best album of all time ever made.